Hello my little bees, elbeetactical here. So how do you know if your MWS needs a good cleaning? Well, if the cycling starts to feel rough, if your accuracy drops because the barrel's fouled up, if it's been exposed to sand, mud or other debris, or if the lubricant is looking dark and dirty, it's time for maintenance. First things first, let's field strip it. Remove the bolt carrier, take out the charging handle and separate the upper and lower for easier access. Now for cleaning. Let's start by wiping away any old lubricant with a paper towel, paying extra attention to the contact points. If it's the first time I'm cleaning the gun, I also use a bit of isopropyl alcohol to remove any residual factory oil that might be hiding in the pores of the metal. After that first deep clean, just wiping down the parts is usually enough. While the cleaning goes on in the background, let's take a quick look at the lubricants I'll be using for today's MWS maintenance. These are the lubricants from Perfect Airsoft, designed specifically for airsoft replicas. Perfect Airsoft is a company in Austria, founded earlier this year by an experienced airsoft technician. After many years of working on replicas and seeing the effect of different lubricants, both good and bad, he decided to create his own line of products that meet the needs of serious airsofters. All Perfect Airsoft lubricants are produced in Germany, right here in Europe, ensuring high manufacturing standards and consistent quality. First lubricant in the lineup is Perfect Airsoft Thin Silicone Oil. This one's ideal in cold weather, especially when temperatures drop below zero, because its lower viscosity keeps it flowing and effective even in freezing conditions. It's also great for rust protection on steel and iron parts, and works perfectly on a wide range of platforms. Gas blowback pistols and rifles, AEGs and even bolt action rifles. Next up, we have Perfect Airsoft Standard Silicone Oil. This is your all-rounder, perfect for general use on all parts of your replica. Like the thin silicone oil, it also provides rust protection for steel and iron components, and it's safe and effective on gas blowback pistols and rifles, AEGs and bolt action rifles. Moving on to something a bit more advanced, Perfect Airsoft Low Friction Grease. This is a silicone-based grease, but it's thinner than standard and enhanced with PTFE, which reduces both friction and stiction. That makes it especially useful for HPA setups, where O-rings and valves can stick a bit on the first shot. PTFE helps keep everything moving smoothly. In cold weather, the low viscosity also keeps valve parts working without needing to bump up your pressure. It's also the recommended all-round grease, thick enough for most airsoft applications, but still smooth and easy to work with. The founder of Perfect Airsoft actually uses this for the majority of his own builds, from gas blowback components to AEG cylinder sets and even bolt action rifle cylinders. And finally, we have Perfect Airsoft Silicone-Free Grease. This one has a normal medium thickness, but unlike the other three lubricants, it's not made from silicone oil. That means it's completely safe to use with silicone hop-up buckings, where regular silicone-based greases could cause swelling over time. It also contains PTFE for reduced friction, and being the thickest grease in the lineup, it's perfect for heavy-duty metal-on-metal contact points. Think gears, charging handles, mag releases, and other high-stress components. Next up, the barrel. I take a small piece of paper towel, soak it in isopropyl alcohol and push it through the barrel from the breech end using a plastic cleaning rod. I'll repeat this a couple of times until the barrel is visibly clean, and then run a dry patch or two to remove any remaining alcohol. I leave the hop-up set as it is during this process. That way any residue on the contact patch also gets cleaned. Now back to the lubricants. Why 4 different viscosities? While each product lists recommended uses on the package, Perfect Airsoft leaves the final choice up to you. Each tag and player has their own preferences, so the lineup comes in 4 distinct viscosities, letting you pick exactly how thick or thin your lubricant should be for gas blowback parts, AEGs or other applications. What's in a lubricant? A typical lube contains a base oil, like silicone oil, a thickening agent to set viscosity, additives such as PTFE for friction reduction, MOS2 for high pressure gear contact, or rust inhibitors. Perfect Airsoft kept their lubricants clear, no unnecessary dyes, so you can easily see when it's dirty and needs changing, instead of hiding contaminants behind color. Why silicone? Some in the airsoft community say silicone oil is bad, but in reality it's one of the most stable, non-reactive oils for the plastics and rubbers used in most airsoft parts. Non-silicone lubes can sometimes cause swelling, shrinking, or brittleness over time. The one exception, silicone rubber parts, like certain hop-up buckings, Flamingo, Modify X range, and some Maple Leaf models. These can swell when exposed to silicone oil. That's why Perfect Airsoft created product number 4. Silicone-free grease, safe for silicone buckings, yet still part of the same easy to understand lineup. No guesswork, no hidden formulas, you know exactly what you're buying. With everything clean, it's time to lubricate and reassemble. I use a cotton bud to rub just a bit of grease onto the contact points, that's all it takes. I'll also add a touch to the charging handle. A thin film of grease is enough to give the parts all the lubrication they need. On the carrier, the main contact points are the four corners. The underside, where the hammer rides, a little bit towards the tail, and the outside of the gas key. Once you've used the gun a bit, it gets easy to see where lubrication is needed. Just look for the wear patterns on the moving parts. The key is to make sure every point of metal on metal contact is lubricated on at least one of the parts involved. These areas are places where gas never reaches during normal use, so oiled green gas isn't a substitute for proper maintenance. In fact, I use oil-free green gas and just perform proper maintenance when needed. Now, while this grease works really well for protecting parts and giving solid lubrication, it's not quite as slick as freshly applied oil. If you want that super smooth feel, or you're working on a gun with a very light spring where too much thick lubricant could slow it down, you'll want to go with a thinner grease. As it stands, this setup is good to go for a few thousand cycles under normal conditions. You don't need to repeat this process until the action starts to feel noticeably rough. Remember, airsoft guns don't build up powder fouling like real firearms. This grease coating will last until contact wear, dust, or foreign debris starts to gum it up. And that's it, cleaned, lubed, and ready for reassembly. A quick function test shows it's cycling smoothly. This rifle is officially back in action. A big thanks to Perfect Airsoft for sending me these lubricants to test. All their links are down in the description if you want to check them out. And now it's over to you, the Hive. If you've got tips, tricks, or think I could do something better, drop it in the comments. I read them all, and it's always great to learn from each other. If you enjoyed the video, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next one. Every comment, every like, every sub, it really means a lot. Thanks for being here, and as always, I'll be over and out.